Okay, we're going to start off with exercise 4 design PHP and exercise 4 design.html, and we're going to upgrade that. So to make sure we don't lose anything, we're going to save it with new file names. So we're going to save our exercise 4 design HTML as exercise 4 HTML. So we're going to save as. Make sure you're in your practice folder. So it's exercise 4, and if we save that, it'll automatically add the HTML to the end of it. So we don't need the design one, so I'm just going to close that one off. And we're going to do exercise 4 design. We're going to save that as well. File save as. And again, just double check we're in the practice folder. And we're just going to call it exercise 4, so EX4. And save, and just so we don't confuse ourselves, I'm going to close off the old one. Alright, the first thing we want to think about is we'd like the page to show that there are errors on the page if someone's typed in the wrong thing. So the simplest way to do that is to place an error beside the entry point. So here's our entry point, which has Robert in it at the moment, and just beside it we're going to put in an error. So I'll put a space in there, and we're going to say something like missing first name. Now that doesn't really stand out, so we're going to make some changes to that. First change we're going to make, I'm going to go down here to our properties area. I'm going to make it bold. And then we're going to make use of CSS to change the color. So I'm going to go down to here to our CSS tag, and I'm going to go down here to our color. So CSS, down here to color, I'm going to pick a red. And you need to click away to see that change. So you can see now that we have this red writing up here, missing first name. We're going to do the same. Now, just a note, that's the color right down there. The color is down here. I'm going to copy that color so that I make it all the same. Just for consistency's sake, they're all going to be the same. So we're going to do the same sort of thing here. Missing surname. And note down here you can see the missing surnames being typed in here. I'm going to colour it in and make it bold. Got to go back to HTML for that. And make it bold. Notice what it's done, it's actually put these strong tags around it. That's what bold is in HTML. And then I'm going to go back here to CSS, and I'm going to change the color. This time I'm not going to pick a color, I'm just going to literally paste that color in because I've already got it. And click away, and there we've got it. So notice what we've done here, if you just look down here in the HTML, I'm just going to color a little bit of that in. This missing surname is inside a statement that has a style of color equals this funny number here. And it's all embedded inside this strong and end strong tag. So from strong to end strong is the information that's in there. Okay, going on to the fruit, same sort of idea. Missing fruit. And again, we're going to make that bold. And we're going to change the color. Last one. Missing test result. Color it in. HTML. Make it bold. Go to my CSS. change the color, and step away. All right, so that has got all our changes HTML. I'll save. What we need to do is carefully copy those changes across to the correct places inside our exercise for PHP. Realize we've changed the name of that. I don't want to muck up the original ones with the design in the name. So let's go back up here, color a little bit in so I can locate it down here, and there's the location down here. Remember, we need everything from the strong to the end of the strong. So you can see it's all there. Realize that's just highlighting the syntax for you. You need to actually color it in by dragging your mouse across it all the way to the end of the strong. And I'm going to copy that, Control C, and it's got to go just after where we've got the Robert in the code. Alright, so let's go across now to here. And I'm going to stick it right there, because that's where our cursor is going to be. So it's right after the... I'm going to colour a little bit in so I can see where I am. There I am down there. But it's got to just be here, just after where it says text for first name, echo first name. We close that all off, and I'm going to Control V that code in there. And hopefully now if I click up here into the design area, we can see it's put in the error message. Alright, save that. So that's that. Let's go next for the surname bit. And we can see that down there. It's where the strong tag starts and ends. It's missing surname, we can see in the middle there, so just double check. I'm going to colour it in. So Control C to copy. Alright, and it's after the FP surname section. I'm going to go across to my exercise for PHP, over to here. And I need to get myself down into the code. We were talking about surname, seems to be in this area here because this is highlighted. Surname, 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 text surname. And paste it in there. And hopefully now I get the text going to appear over here once I click into the, there to go. And same for fruit. Saving again. Same for fruit. So there's the fruit section, it's down there. Again, got to colour in from strong to strong. Whoop, too much. Copy that and go across to my PHP. Cursor needs to be there. Need to get sound, and that's that paragraph there. So get ourselves to the end. Hopefully that does something there. And the last one for test result. Missing test result. There we go. And I can see the strong there. So strong to strong. And go back to exercise 4 PHP into this spot here. And you can see it's marking the paragraph for me down there, but not the exact place where I need it to be. It's got to be right at the end here. So Control V for that. Hopefully if I click away now. Okay, so we've got all our information in here. Now, these are fixed. They're not PHP. It'll always show this. All right, there won't be any changes there. So what we need to do now is use assignment statements to collect the post variables. We need to create a new page called ex4 underscore check.php. So we're going to create that. File new PHP page. File, save as. First thing we do with a new file is we save it. We save it because there's some chance that we'll get it back if the computer crashes partway through. So ex4 underscore check. Save that. Now this page is going to be purely PHP. Purely PHP. So I don't need any HTML in there. So I'm going to take all of that and delete it. It's going to be entirely PHP. So it starts with a PHP startup command, and it's going to end with the end of PHP. Everything and bits go in there. All right, save it. So what we first need to do is we need to collect all the post variables. Let's go back to our PHP here. This did this already for us. Let's scroll to the top of this one. And we collected everything here. So that got it from the post. Although the post this time is going to post to our check page. So I'm going to copy all of that because that's collecting it all. So that's from the exercise 4.php. And I'm going to put it into here. Indenting's terrible. Let's fix that up. Remember, you have a command to do that. Edit, code, apply source formatting, and it all lines up as it should do. So we've now collected everything that's been posted to it. What I want to do now is save all that information. I want to make sure it's saved so it can be used on any page. How do we do that? We save it to a session variable. Before we can use session variables, we have to start a session. So session underscore start, and there's popping up there. That makes sure that we've now got session variables are available, and $_ session, there it is. Now I tend to make my session variable names the same as the PHP variable names, so I don't use FVs. So what I want to grab this time is text first name. Realize in our associative array, which is a session variable, we don't use the $. And that's going to equal a $sign version. All right, so basically the idea is we've got it from the post that was sent from the original page. I've stored it in the text variable, PHP variable. Now I'm taking that text PHP variable and I'm storing it away so that other pages can have the information as a session variable. I'm going to do that another 3 times. And the difference between the 3 things is just going to be the variables. So let's make it easy for ourselves. Paste, paste, paste. Yes, they're all the same. They're not doing anything very exciting, but I'm just going to change each side of those equations. So text surname, on both sides of the equation, leave the $sign. So that's first name to first name, surname to surname, fruit to fruit. And finally, the integer test result. So what have we done? We've collected the post variables, we've stored them away in PHP variables, we've started a session, and we've made sure we've also stored the information in a session variable so it's available on any page. All right. To go on from there, we need to do some checking. All we need to do is we need to check whether there's actually something in these variables. So we're going to use if to do our testing, and if requires brackets, and after the brackets, that's the round brackets, there's some curly braces, and inside the curly braces is where the information is put. Inside the brackets is where we put our if statement. Before we start doing any if statements, let's set up our variables, and let's make sure that they are initially set and they are empty. So what variables are we going to have? $text and first name error, and it's going to start off there being no error, so I just put quote, nothing inside. Similarly, we're going to have, and I'm just copying and pasting, just adding error to it, quote, and text surname error, text fruit, error, equals nothing. And lastly, well, not quite lastly, I'll explain why in a moment, I want the error message for test error, but realize this is a piece of text, so it's a text. This variable is a text variable because it's going to record whether the number is too big, too small, or just entirely missing. Alright, so that's set those all up. One more variable, a variable that just says, hey, there's been a problem on this page, somewhere on this page. This is going to be a boolean, which is true or false. So we're going to put a bool, and the boolean error is going to be error on page. And that's going to start off by being false. We're going to be optimistic and say there's no problems on this page, and go on from there. Alright, so we've set up a whole stack of information here to record the messages that need to be displayed to the user if they've made some sort of mistake or they've forgotten to type information in. Let's go to our first if statement. Our first if statement is due to text first name. Again, I'm copying and pasting because it's nice and efficient. It also reduces the chance we make a mistake. So if text first name is empty, so let's put our empty statement in there. Empty, open brackets, and then we'll close the brackets for the actual if statement. So the if has its brackets, and then the empty statement has inside it text first name. If that's empty, well, we need to do something about it. It's always nice to see matching pairs here. So let's make that error message. All right, if it's empty, then you've been naughty and you should have typed something in there. So let's put the statement in there. And the message is missing first name. And now there is an error on the page. So we need to flag the fact that there's a problem on the page. So error on the page equals, unfortunately, true. Something is wrong. Okay, just press delete there to get space. We're repeating that now for the other three. So again, I'm going to save myself some time. I'm going to copy and paste. and paste. And paste. Now, be careful that you always replace all the bits that need to be replaced. So it's text surname. Replaces this because we're now testing for text surname. To see if it's empty, and then we put an error on here for our text surname. And the error message is, ooh, $2 signs there, oops. The error is there is missing surname. So we have text first name error, missing first name. Text surname error, missing surname, and yes, there's an error on the page. Going down again. Fruit. So, if text fruit is empty, then we have a text fruit message and we'll say missing fruit. And finally, an error message for text. Need to be careful with that one. Because remember, it's an int. The variable is an int. The error message is text. So it's a text test error message. The variable we're checking for is the int test, and missing test result. Okay. This if statement needs to be a little more detailed than this. If it's empty, then yes, we immediately say, sorry, you put nothing in there. We want to go on from there, though, and do an else. And now we need to check for its value. Maybe it's too big or too small. We're going to say that our values can be between 0 and 100. So if we put our brackets around there, if $int, and there it is, thank you very much, is greater than 100, now we put in our message. I'm going to copy all that. And this time we're going to say result too large, or maybe big. Another one. This time we'll take it's less than 0. Then result too small. All right. Or maybe we could say result negative. Or result can't be negative. Whatever you want your error message to be. So we've got, just double check. Has that got a friend? Yes, it has. And then inside there, we have 2 other ways that we can get errors, either being too big or too small. So that's all got all the error message in there happening for us. What we need to do now is make sure that we've saved all the error messages. So we need a series of session statements that save the error message. Now, because they're very similar to those, I'm going to copy all of those but add the word error in the right places. So same sort of way, but this is text session error. And there it is. And again, error. And there it is. And error. And there it is. And this one needs a little bit of doctoring because it's text. And it's the error one, so we grab that. Right, so that's grabbed all the information. So it's available in the session variables. Remember, also inside the session variables is the actual data, as well as the error message if there is any. Finally, we have to decide what this check statement does. Well, the check's going to be based on this bool error on page. If there's an error on page, then it has to go back to the original page. Oops. So if there's a bool error on page, then we use our header statement to head it off to the right place. So header, and it's a location, and the location, if there's an error on a page, is actually right back to the very first page. So go back to the exercise 4.php, else same idea, except this time it's going to go off to the exercise 4 display. I haven't made that page yet, but it's going to display great news, you've got it right, off we go, do whatever the next step happens to be. Alright, so that's all our error checking in there, and yes, there's a whole page for it to do all that error checking. We could have gone one step further with this int and checked whether it actually was a number, because a word gets the value 0, it would actually pass this test down here. Alright, make sure we've saved that, Control S. Back to exercise 4. Now at this stage I'm just going to get myself inside the form here. I'm going to go down the bottom here to get back to the form information. This down here needs to go to the check page. So when you press the button, it doesn't go to the design back to itself, it now goes off to the check page, and the check page sends it back here. Alright, in this page, it comes back here from another page, therefore we can't have posts in there. Right, this information is now coming back to us from session variables. So basically, wherever it says post, it now needs to be session. And in here needs to be the variable that it went to. Now realize I use text. Once I put things inside a session variable, I try to name them the same as the PHP variable as much as possible. And again here, save and save and type that all the time. So I go here and Control V. So where is it stored? The information is now in a session variable. It was actually posted to the check page and then stored as a session variable, so it's available on this page. And we need to change those to be appropriate. So they're text, because they're no longer coming from a form. They're not form variables. Text, and this last one is an int because it's an integer. Alright, we also need to get back all the error messages. So, let's save that. Let's go back to our check page. These are all our error messages. We actually want to do the reverse of these statements. Right, these statements take, just copy that, put it over here. Right. These take this information, the variable information, and store it inside the session variable. We actually want to do the reverse. We want to take what's in the session variable and put it back into a PHP variable for our use. So I'm going to just take that, cut it away, and swap it around. Because remember, our equal sign really means take this on the right and stick it on this in the left. This on the right never changes. This on the left now gets changed. So what's here in here now goes into here. Yes, I've got equal signs at the end there. I'll fix those up in a moment. I don't want that. I do want here instead. Equals. I don't want it on the right. I need it on the left because it's going to be changed. What's stored in the session variable. And the same for this one. And we'll now get rid of all these lonely equal signs. That one I must have copy rather than and we'll do this lonely equal sign as well. A complaint here. What's this complaint about? Unexpected T variable. I didn't put the equal sign. All right, let's use our handy dandy formatting so it looks neat. Edit code. If your source formatting doesn't work, then you need to maybe upgrade your Dreamweaver, or you need to work out what it is, because it's going to cost you too much time to have this not working for you. All right, I'm going to save that. So we've now collected everything from our check page that we need. We've collected the data that's actually originally typed in, and we've also collected all the errors. All right, to finish this off, we now need to go through the process of filling in the error messages so they appear correctly. Also, we no longer want information to be in there. We don't want default information to be in there. We want these all to be empty. So I'm going to take those out. Yes, it will make the start of the first time you run the page a little strange because it won't have our name and it won't have the test result. But we're going to take them out. Okay, so we want a blank form for the users to fill in. Now we need to be very careful and find out where were those messages. Oh, here they are. Missing first name. So missing first name, that little bit of text there needs to now be a little bit of PHP. So it's the usual sort of thing. So angle brackets, question mark, PHP, start the PHP. We're going to echo. And $txt, and we're going to echo the first name error. Doesn't seem to be there for yet. F-I-R-S-T. There you go. First name error. And then we're going to close off our PHP with question mark and close angle brackets. Right, so that statement there is going to put on the screen whatever happens to be in the error. If there's nothing there, then nothing will show, and that's exactly what you want. I'm going to just copy that. And so that was first name. Let's go to surname. Same idea, except this variable is wrong. SUR, and it's the error message you want to appear. So I pick the error variable. And here's the error message. And again, we need to change the variable for the message it's showing. This is for fruit. That's the fruit error message. So I'm grabbing the fruit error message down here. Don't grab fruit. The error isn't orange. And last, and this is going to be the error message for our test result. And it's the test error. Missed. Oh, silly boy. You highlight the word, not the number. Okay, so that's got all our errors in there. Realize, of course, you can stop this video at any point in time or freeze it so that you can type up the stuff that I'm doing here. And save it. Now you can see this page changes. All of these become little PHPs rather than actual messages. And this all up here too. Okay, let's run what we've got. We still don't have a display page. We'll get back to that. But I want to run this with lots of errors and see what we get. So open in browser, please. That's the only way you run this. Google Chrome. Ah, naughty boy. It's all right. Notice here, undefined variable text first name. This is the first time I've run this page. Therefore, there is nothing in text first name. All of those variables have nothing in them. All right. So we need to set them up so they have nothing in them, as opposed to be. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. These variables don't even exist the first time you run through. So we need to set them up with empty values. Let's go back here. So all these error messages have nothing don't exist, because if there's no first name, it doesn't do this, so they don't exist at all. So let's go down here and put that in as a group, and we're just going to put quote quote. Which means there's going to be empty variables. So delete and quote, and that puts quote quote in there. Don't forget the semicolon at the end. Delete, quote, delete, and quote, and we will just format our code, make it beautiful. Edit, code, by source formatting. Okay, that means the variable's got nothing in them. If it turns out that we're going back to this page for a second time, then it actually puts the appropriate values it's got from the check page. Save that. And let's go back out here and refresh. And now it's happy. All right, let's, if I submit that, it should come back with a whole stack of errors, and it came back with a complete mess. That's unfortunate. Okay, well, that had me thinking for a while to work out what I've done wrong there. Mistakes were incredibly simple, but really messed things up. The page that we just saw was suggesting that it wasn't being treated as PHP, it was just being shown on the screen as text. And that very, very simply was because up here I had a space. So in the exercise 4 check page, you can't have it. It's got to be question mark PHP directly, otherwise it's not PHP. The other thing that I also noticed we need to fix, right down the bottom here when we've got our header statements, the header statements have to be inside quotes. So it's got to be single quote location colon exercise 4 and single quote down here. And the other rookie mistake is going back to our exercise 4, you have to session start before you start using session variables. If you don't session start, there is no session variable, and again you're going to get errors because of that. So don't forget to make that session start statement there before you use any session variables. Alright, let's continue on and test it again. So right click up here, open in browser, Google Chrome. Let's put nothing in there. Do notice hi there and there's no name. I'm glad you like and there's nothing there. We recognize this and your result is and there's nothing written there. Going to submit and we get every single error. First name, surname, fruit and test result. Let's put in a first name. So this is a process of testing. Run it through and we see that that error is gone. Let's put in a surname. Mr. Google's trying to be helpful. Let's take out the Robert again. And notice that the Robert appeared up here. And submit. And we can see the errors have gone. Let's put in a fruit. Yeah, apple will do. And submit. Now let's put in some, notice again there's still no result. Let's put in a wrong result. Let's put 110 or something. Or 1010. Submit. And it comes up result too big. But the number is now up here where it should be. Let's put in -3 and submit, and the result is too small. And finally, we put something that's in there correct, and it'll, well, I haven't built this for you, but I'll show you how to build it. Okay, Thank you for submitting this data. Okay, let's look at how you go build this page. So we'll build it initially, and then we'll just change it for the variables there. So this is our display page. I'm going to take the one out that I built before. Okay. Alright, so file, new, PHP, create, something nice across the top there. We'll save that as file, save as. X4 underscore display. And we'll make that a heading 1. Pick up here to HTML. Down here we'll change format to heading 1. And we'll have name equals whatever. Equals, don't really care. These are all dummies we're going to change with some code. And finally we'll have test result equals whatever, doesn't matter. What we need to do is collect all the information from our session variables. Which we did in this code already, so that makes it easy. We'll just grab that section of code. So I want all the session variable information. Up here in the body. We'll start PHP, and I won't put a space in there this time, and I'll end PHP. Alright, so question mark PHP, so angle bracket question mark PHP, and we'll close it off. Going to post all our stuff in there. Make it pretty. And don't forget to do a session start. So the session variables are going to work for us. Alright. Down here it says RH. We're just going to use an echo statement for that. So again, we're going to take out the RH. And we're going to open PHP. And we're going to echo. And I'm going to echo dollar text first name, and I'm going to use a dot because dot's used for joining, and I'm going to put a join in a single space there, and then another dot to join or concatenate, and again we're going to do a dollar txt and surname. That should give us the R.K.Hallworth. Going to go down here, and of course we have to close off PHP. So there's our PHP start and end. Same thing down here. Take out our X's and put in our fruit. Angle bracket, question mark, PHP. I don't know what that was. PHP. And again an echo. And all the text. Fruit. Semicolon, and we're going to close off our PHP. Just for neatness, we'll put a semicolon here as well. And lastly, echo, and this time the dollar result. Which is the test. And close that off. And save that. And you can see these all become PHPs. A little bit of PHP here to collect all the data. And that's EX4 display. And this is the EX4 display. I'm not really proving anything because you're going to get the same thing unless I've made a mistake. And there it is. This time we've built it from scratch rather than using the one I built about an hour ago. Okay, so that's our page. That does everything. It submits data. We can go in here and make that, orange or something. So all correct. A result of -3 comes up with an error. Put a result in here of 78 and submit, and it gets to this page. It shows the information. Can't spell orange, but never mind. All right, hope that helps.